Growing up, my life was obviously not how it is today. I went to school, did the old, made it to grade 9, got into some trouble with some alcohol and drug situations, and wasn't going down the path that I knew in my heart. My heart wanted to be somewhere else, but my mind and everything in the world was telling me, that this is where you're going. Following my brother, my older brother, and my older sister, kind of emulating what they did, getting into trouble here and there. Started working fairly young. Met my wife, my future wife, at my first place of employment. We've been married 33 years now. This past April 6th. She'd kill me if I got the date wrong. It hasn't always been easy. It's been rocky. 4 years ago, we were separated. I was going in one direction, and it was downward spiral. There was a situation in my work career where I was a manager of a large-scale bakery in Kitchener. I ran it. We started it from the ground up, and it went from the day we opened up, we had 9 employees. 10 years later, when we sold the company, we had over 300 employees. We grew it really nicely. We were all very proud of what we had accomplished. And when we sold it, my wife, Jean, who had been working her whole life, I think it was over 35 years, she had worked in a factory. She was able to retire. So it was a very great moment for me to be able to to have Jean be able to retire. At that point, Jean and I had a little bit of a disagreement, and it was over money. It was like, my thought process was, oh, wow, we can do anything we want now. And her thought process was the exact opposite. We have to settle down, we have to stay home, we have to make sure this money lasts, because she wasn't working. At the time, I thought she was insane. So I kind of didn't listen to her, kind of went my own way, started doing my own thing. She stayed home, and we kind of grew apart. And I got another job because we sold the company, and I kind of got in a little bit of trouble there. I met somebody at this new company that I was at, and this person was a lot younger than me, and I eventually went into a relationship with this person. My wife and I separated. It was not a good situation for me. I was down that path of drinking and having a good time, like always. And deep down in my heart, I was like, this is not who you were meant to be. Like, this is not who you are, man. Like, what are you doing? But it didn't stop me. It took a while. I got to a point where I said to my brother-in-law, I need help. I can't do this alone. I don't want to lose my marriage, because if I'd have kept on going down that slope, I probably wouldn't be here today. It was not a good situation. So I asked my brother-in-law, and he directed me to this recovery program. And I went there, and that's where I found Jesus. I can remember me thinking when I went in there that Jesus is going to give me the strength to overcome this, and then I'll be fine on my own. But I learned very, very quickly when I went there that it had nothing to do with me. It was all me giving it to Jesus, and Jesus will make it better. So I would say about 2 years in to this recovery program, it was about the time that I had to make amends and write my inventory. So around that time, it was like an awakening for me, because I had to confess. I confessed to Jean, I confessed to Jesus, I confessed to somebody I trusted here. And I'll never forget that day for the rest of my life. It was like the best way I can describe it, and I've described this many times before, that the flowers looked brighter, the trees looked greener, the air smelled sweeter. It was like a revelation. And it was Jesus coming into my heart. I could feel it. I could feel it. It was an amazing moment in my life. From that moment, it hasn't always been, again, like the birthday cakes. It's been struggles, It's been up and down, but Jesus has been in my heart, and whenever I've come and asked him for something, for help, for assistance, for guidance, every single time he's been there for me. So my life now with Jean is, we definitely experienced a rebirth in our marriage. I experienced a rebirth in my relationship with my children. Everywhere that I go, my friends, I have a different relationship with my friends now. Some of my friends are not my friends anymore because they went down a certain path and I went down a certain path, and that's okay. But I still reach out. Now my life is just, for me, it feels like it's completely different. And when I see people, they say you're different in a good way. You know, one of the things I've always said to myself is that I want to have integrity, you know, and I don't feel that I had that when I was younger and going through all the issues, and Jesus is definitely helping me attain that. So that's a goal of mine. I can just say now that my life has never been better. My wife and I renewed our vows at Movement Church. It was awesome. So for me, life is good. If I can, my goal is to set my children up as best I can and to help my wife be the happiest she can be for the rest of her life. To me, Jesus is my Lord and Savior, and he will be, thankfully, for the rest of my life, because he rescued me from the depths and brought me to where I am today. It's not an easy road, and I know when I have Jesus there with me, it's going to be a good one.